Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Connecting Dots podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Usama, and today we're joined by Ezgi, all the way from Turkey. She currently holds the title of Technology Strategy Leader at Microsoft, and she has a solid track record of working in the consulting industry. So today we'll get into the conversation of not only getting to know her better, but to understand her role at Microsoft as well. So with that, we formally welcome you to the show, Ezgi. How has your day been so far?
Hello, Usama. Thanks for having me today. And today has been great because I was so excited for our podcasts. And
Thank
so
you.
thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
again.
much. Perfect. So let's get started. First of all, walk us through your professional journey. How had it been for you so far?
Yes. First of all, let me quickly introduce myself again. Hello, everyone. This is Ezgi, all the way from Turkey, Istanbul. And my career journey actually has started almost 14 years ago. So I was graduated
Mm-hmm.
from college as an electrical and
Yeah.
electronics engineer in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And fresh out of
Mm-hmm.
college, I joined Accenture as a technology
Yeah.
consultant. Then I moved to strategy department in Accenture and I continued being a strategy consultant, then a strategy manager. And in my
Right.
6 years of tenure in Accenture, I had chance to work in several
Mm-hmm.
industries like telco,
Mm-hmm.
media, manufacturing, retail,
Interesting.
energy,
Yeah.
which luckily gave me a
Yeah.
broad industry and business knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, during working for Accenture, I started to get my MBA degree. So I did an MBA
Okay.
while I was working, which was challenging, I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you. But after I
Yeah.
graduated from the MBA, I got a job offer
Yeah.
from Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, I can tell you that I wasn't even considering to leave Accenture at all. I was thinking, I'm going to retire from this company.
Yeah.
I love this company. But after the first
Yeah.
interview
Yeah.
with Microsoft, I thought I should join this company because
Yeah.
there was a drastic transformation ongoing in the company. I really wanted to be a part of
Yeah.
it. So I
Yeah.
thought it will create me much more opportunity to grow. So I joined
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft in 2015, and
Right.
for the past 7 years, I'm working as a technology strategy leader in Microsoft.
Right. Yeah. And rest is history, right?
Yes.
Right. Interesting. So, if you were to dabble into the role of this technology lead at Microsoft, so if you would want to help us simplify the role, so first of all, what would the role entail, and what kind of responsibilities come with it?
Yeah. So, as a technology strategy leader, I think first you need to understand what is the business challenge and what is the business
Mm-hmm.
outcomes that customer really
Okay.
wants to accomplish, right? And then you
Right.
need to build a technology strategy and a business
Mm-hmm.
architecture covering customers specific or cross solution technology architecture and roadmaps, which
Mm-hmm.
also obviously requires some industry priorities, scenarios, and solutions as well. So,
Okay.
as I couldn't manage to do it in the past 30 seconds. It's not easy to tell
Yeah.
what I'm doing. It even explaining it is as challenging.
Yeah.
I know, we always make
Yeah.
fun of it. Sometimes when you have some professions, it's very easy to explain your grandma, for
Yeah.
instance, what you're doing, right? When you're a
Right.
doctor or lawyer, it's very easy, straightforward. But
Yeah.
with some other jobs, it's
Yeah.
really challenging. I always say that,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I need to educate myself in a way where I can tell what I'm doing to a small kid or a very
Mm.
elderly person what I'm doing in 30
Yeah.
seconds. If I'm doing it well, then I know what I'm doing. But with my
Yeah.
job, it's not that easy.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I mean, still, since it's a client-facing role, so I mean, you are kind of the face of the company.
Yeah.
So in that way, I mean, in that way, maybe we can explore it further. Like, how do you bring in value for the company itself?
Yes. So in my role, I lead the relations with
Yeah.
C-level technology and innovation executives in
Oh,
Microsoft's top
interesting. Yeah.
customers in Turkey, I can say.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
I try to inspire and ideate with customers to transform their
Mm-hmm.
business capabilities and accelerate innovation through
Mm-hmm.
technology enablement, obviously. And, I'm
Yeah.
sure all of you guys, whoever is listening to this podcast, has been hearing digital transformation,
Yeah.
industry 4.0, AI, machine
Yeah.
learning, all those amazing fancy
Yeah.
words that has been ongoing
Yeah.
for the past
Yeah.
5 6 years, I think. And I'm trying to focus
Yeah.
on reimagining actually the role of technology as a business and
Mm.
innovation enabler, I can say. uh,
Right.
so it's like in a nutshell how I cover the customers from
Yeah.
a relationship perspective.
Right. Interesting. And after working with the C-suite executive for a while in your career, what are some of your key learnings that you can share with us? Like, how is it like to work with such executives?
Yeah, I can tell you that it's not easy all the time because relationship, I mean, knowing something very well or being really good at your
Yeah.
profession or at your domain is not
Yeah.
enough when it comes to working with people, because
Yeah.
when the people factor comes in, you know that it's really important to manage your relationship, because all of us have good days and bad
Yeah.
days and good discussions
Yeah.
and tough discussions. So it's not always
Right.
easy, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I always remind
Mm.
myself that I come to work every day to inspire people, to inspire
Yeah.
customers. And I want to create innovation lighthouse projects with them. And I try to focus on
Mm.
global and local trends, what is going on in the market. And what
Right.
is even more
Yeah.
important, how I'm gonna
Mm.
create a measurable success for Microsoft. Because it's not enough to make my
Yeah.
customers happy, right? Like because
Yes.
my
Yeah.
company doesn't pay me just to make people happy or
Yeah.
just to help them. The company wants
Yeah.
me to
Yeah.
create a bigger opportunity, a bigger
Yeah.
revenue for Microsoft. So
Yeah.
it's like combining two different dynamics. So it's like I need to create the perfect win-win situation where customer is
Mm.
happy with the solution and wants to pay for that
Yeah.
solution, and Microsoft is happy because it's getting paid. So
Right. So, what keeps you interested in it?
I think it is super dynamic. And I'm a person who gets bored very quickly. So and I'm very impatient.
Yeah.
I'm not a patient
Yeah.
person. I can say, if you ask me
Yeah.
what is your let's say one of the things that you need to improve in your self development, I would say patience,
Yeah.
because I'm still working on
Right.
it. It's becoming better and better every day, but still I have a way to
Yeah.
go there. So because it's super
Yeah.
dynamic, I love it, because it changes every day. Like, even
Hmm.
though I work with same customer for 3 years, let's say,
Right.
every couple of months the discussion, the topics change, because the market change, because the
Yeah.
industry change, the technology
Yeah.
change. And for me, what keeps me
Yeah.
become excited every day about my job, I can say it's that, because it's very dynamic.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent. And maybe I'll extrapolate it a little further. So once me and Nimra were talking to a partner at IBM, and they kind of inspired us as well. That one of the things that they really mentioned was that they get bored too quickly as well, and they are always hopping from one challenge to another
Yeah.
challenge, smaller challenge to a bigger challenge. So maybe in a way that's good for us humans as well. That if we keep if we keep at solving problems, at tackling these bigger challenges, maybe not only we get to improve ourselves, but maybe we can end up being in those executive or leadership positions too. So that was very interesting, and now that you've said the same thing, it kind of firms that belief in us now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, Ezgi, once you started in this position, what kind of myths do you think had been busted for you?
Wow, that's a very tricky question. But I will tell you what. I first,
Sure.
in the beginning of my career days, like fresh out of college or a couple of years of working, I
Mm.
always thought that there's those strategy departments, in the big firms that
Yeah.
not execute, let me say, that
Hmm.
plan and ideate the perfect
Mm.
strategy. Then they
Yeah.
create a perfect plan to execute it. Then this is how those amazing companies become so successful. But then, after I spent
Right.
some
Yeah.
years, let's say, in the
Yeah.
industry, I
Hmm.
realized that uh, most of the strategy of top firms are very
Hmm.
often just stay on plans, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
they are not successfully executed.
Yeah.
which is a
Uh-huh.
challenge, but which is also an opportunity, because if we
Yeah.
manage to
Yeah.
solve this in a way where we create
Mm-hmm.
a more fluent process of planning and executing, and then there is a big opportunity for those companies to grow in that domain. So this was very
Yeah.
surprising for me, to be honest, because we always think like
Mm-hmm.
the strategy is the key to everything. I mean, if
Yeah.
you don't have strategy, the culture will eat you for breakfast, etc. So all those fancy, amazing
Yeah.
quotes we have heard from,
Yeah.
not heard
Yeah.
in person, but we have read, let's say,
Yeah.
from amazing business leaders in the world. But then when you
Yeah.
jump in, you realize that the things on the field are much different than they are on the textbooks. So I think it was a very
Yeah.
surprising fact for me when I really, because at first I thought, this is specific to this company. They don't execute it very well. Then I jumped on to
Yeah.
next and the next, and I just realized the pattern there.
Yeah.
So I would say that that's
Yeah.
the biggest myth that I have had.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So, other than that, if you were to talk about Microsoft for a bit, maybe I've noticed from an outside perspective that this company empowers a young leadership actually. So, in your opinion, how does the company actually empowering the youth to take on bigger challenges and on leadership roles?
Mhm. That's a great question. And I think I should start saying I love working for Microsoft. Seriously. I really love the
Nice.
company culture, how
Yeah.
company empowers
Yeah.
its own people, and how much time and money and effort it spends on just how to manage better their employees to become a better place
Right.
to work. So
Mm-hmm.
as someone from inside, I can tell you that Microsoft is pretty good at doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
there is one thing that company runs, for instance, one methodology that I like very much. I can tell about that. So there is a
Mm-hmm.
talent pool in the company, which puts its
Okay.
young talents
Mm-hmm.
in that pool to make sure that they navigate, they help them. The company helps those individuals navigate their career in the best way possible, because it's not always easy for
Mm-hmm.
us like individuals to really
Yeah.
understand what is the next best action to do in the work, right? Or what I
Right.
should do, which role I should take in as a next role, because it's also like there's always a conflict of interest, because if you are really good at your work,
Yeah.
your managers never want you to leave that role, because they want to keep you as a
Absolutely.
strong professional.
Yeah.
But on the other
Yeah.
hand, if you are working for a big firm like Microsoft, you need to move
Mm-hmm.
on to grow, to have more
100%.
responsibilities, more
Yeah.
opportunities, or to get
100%.
out of your
Yeah.
comfort zone. So I've seen
Yeah.
that companies trying to balance it in a way where
Mm-hmm.
they help you be successful in your day-to-day work, plus
Mm-hmm.
create you more opportunities to grow. And
Right.
that's one of the things I think that Microsoft does really good. And also, one other thing I want to highlight here, I think it's very important for everyone. And I always talk with my mentees, because I have many mentees within company and outside company as well. And I try to
Right.
support them in the best way possible from my learnings and from my
Perfect.
experience so
Yeah.
far. And I always say, look,
Mm-hmm.
I learned it, I would say I learned it quite late. I wish I knew it when I was in the first years of my career. So, but I
Right.
learned it
Yeah.
after, I think, 7, 8
Yeah.
years or something like that, how
Mm-hmm.
important creating a brand is, like a personal
Yeah.
brand. And I know it sounds
Right.
like a cliche, but trust me, it's not a cliche, because
Yeah.
you need to have your allies in the company who trust you,
Mm-hmm.
who knows what you're doing, and who can empower you in a way to move forward. So if you are working
Mm-hmm.
for a big firm, and if you want to make more impact, and if you want to become a young leader, you need to
Yeah.
understand and realize that you need to create a brand, and you need to find as
Yeah.
much allies as you can to support that brand, and it will eventually lead you the way.
Right. No, that is very well said. So other than that, again, if I'm understanding your role correctly, so it really depends. So your work might depend a lot on the kind of industry that you start to work on, like whatever project comes to you,
Yeah.
right? So in that way, what would be the best way to build a strong competency to be successful in this role?
This is a tough question as well, but I think I can tell you that like uh, I don't think personally learning is a
Mm-hmm.
very structured process, I don't believe in
Right.
that. I think we
Mm-hmm.
learn every day, every second. I learned from you during this
Yeah.
conversation, you learned from me, and
Yeah.
this is how I
Yeah.
see the world. So I think if you want to be
Mm-hmm.
successful in a dynamic role who requires changing and getting adapted to new
Mm-hmm.
ideas, new concepts in
Yeah.
business, in industry, you need to use every possible no, not like that. You need to use every
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to learn and grow, and how I do it, I use social media a lot. I learn from social media a lot, so I try to follow the right content from Instagram, from Twitter. To be honest, I don't
Right.
use Facebook a lot nowadays for a
That's
couple
okay.
of
Me
years,
neither.
but at least with the Instagram and Twitter, I'm pretty good,
Yeah.
I can say, and I try to
Yeah.
follow
Yeah.
the related content there. So, and also I
Mm-hmm.
think LinkedIn, it is the top, the
Oh,
best,
that is
the
very, very
amazing
important.
resource. You
Yeah.
should get
Yeah.
the info out of it. So it's like there are many amazing leaders, technology gurus, industry gurus. You can follow there, and
Yeah.
people. It is nowadays. It's really
Mm-hmm.
easy to reach to the content. If you just
Yeah.
if you want to reach to a content, you will find a way. So I suggest also LinkedIn is an amazing source, and also on top of those
Yeah.
social channels, I also try to follow big consulting firms reports like McKinsey, BCG, Accenture,
Uh-huh.
also some
Right.
trends reports like IDC, Forrester, because like
Mm-hmm.
I always say, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, right?
Of
Yani,
course.
I
Yeah.
mean, we need to
Yeah.
follow the big trends. So I always remind myself, wherever the big firms are putting the money, the bet on, like the big firms like Microsoft, Apple, Google,
Yeah.
Tesla, I don't know, you name it, there are many of them. So if you just
Mm-hmm.
follow what are the current R&D projects, for instance, in those firms,
Yeah.
you can be sure that in the couple of
Mm-hmm.
years those areas will be the top of minds in the industry as well. So that's also another
Right.
trick I can tell you.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good. I mean, as far as we make learning as efficient and as cool as possible. We can always retain those key learnings. Anyways, other than that, if we talk about work-life balance, have you really mastered it?
I think I
It's a
almost
tough
mastered
question,
it.
to be honest.
I think I almost mastered it,
Yeah.
and especially
Right.
after becoming a mother, I can tell you this was one of the most life-changing, not one of the most
Yeah.
life-changing experience I've ever
Yeah.
had in my life.
Yeah.
And after becoming a mother, I realized that the
Hmm.
God doesn't give you extra hours because just you're a mother, you still have 24
Exactly.
hours a day, and
Yeah.
and you have more obligations,
Yeah.
more responsibilities, and even
Yeah.
not responsibilities, there are more things you want to do at the end of the day in the same amount of time. And I'm a
Absolutely.
person who's very
Yeah.
ambitious, and I really
Yeah.
want to continue with my career as well. I didn't want to
Hmm.
leave my career aside just because I want to be the perfect mom. I thought, look, I can
Yeah.
be the perfect mom plus I can also have the perfect career. So
Yeah.
I think you need to remind yourself that if you work a lot, I had my years where I worked 16, 18 hours a day in average, I can say on
Oh,
average,
wow.
which was,
Okay.
now I am
Yeah.
thinking back those days, I'm thinking
Yeah.
like I must have lost my mind, because it's not productive. Someone,
Yeah.
anyone cannot be successful or productive or I mean,
Hmm.
it's very easy to make mistakes if you work 16 hours or 18 hours.
Yeah.
There is an issue there. So you need to realize, so because when
Yeah.
you're young and when you're like in the first years of your career, you think like if you work more hours, it will be better. No, it's not. I mean, you need to find the most productive way to work,
Yeah.
otherwise it's not going to create anything better, not for you or nor for the firm, your firm, right?
Yeah.
That's how I think.
Absolutely. No, that's pretty cool. So switching gears a little bit now, if you were to talk about academics as gay, so in your opinion, how do you think academia is aligned with what industry demands at this point in time?
um, I can tell you, it is the answer. I'm sure will change depending on where you study it. Because
Right.
the countries has very different education systems. I know
Yeah.
very well that the education system in Turkey, for instance, is very different from the ones in US or in Europe, and
Right.
everyone has some
Mm,
advantages and some disadvantages. And as I
absolutely.
studied in
Yeah.
Turkey in college as well, I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you that in our country the
Mm-hmm.
education is like more focused on like a more academic person career path. And because I
Right.
studied engineering and electrical electronics engineering, I
Yeah.
can tell you that if you're gonna work for an R&D firm, and if you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
really have a career more like an academic career, I can say,
Mm-hmm.
it helps you a lot. But if you want to
Right.
work in business, in industries, hard, I can tell you, it of course helps you. It gives you all the required skills you need, um, but
Yeah.
it doesn't prepare you well to the work life. I'm gonna be very honest on that. But on the other hand,
Okay. Yeah.
I think a total different perspective for MBA, for
Mm.
instance. I think it is something that really helps you a lot in the work life. Maybe it is because of the difference of business subjects versus engineering subjects. Maybe that's the main reason. I
Yeah.
don't know, because I didn't
Yeah.
study business administration, for instance, in college, so I cannot make that comparison. But I can tell you that
Right. Yeah.
MBA was much more relevant to the business life. But if you ask
Right.
me, Ezgi, if you go back 20 years, what would you study? I would exactly do the same. I
Yeah.
loved studying electric electronics engineering, and I think it
Yeah.
gave me a lot of know-how to leverage in many
Yeah.
aspects. So,
Yeah. And the great thing about engineering, I think, is that it kind of teaches you how to think because
yes,
you
totally.
end up dividing the problems into smaller pieces. And if you can
Totally.
explain that to someone, that means you understand it correctly in the first place as well. So maybe reversing a little bit back and talking about MBA, maybe you're the right person to ask since you've gotten an MBA already. So now, when you're working in an IT or an engineering firm, um, how do you think, or in a few sentences, how would you summarize that? How does MBA help you understand how or what the crux of running a
Mhm,
large scale
mhm.
IT company are?
Yeah. Especially as you told me, I mean, if you are coming from especially an engineering background, I think MBA degree supports you a lot. It helps you grow in
Mm-hmm.
business know-how, in finance domain, in marketing domain,
Mm-hmm.
which are the domains that are really important to understand and internalize, because if you want to
Yeah.
be a leader in Microsoft, for instance, you need to understand how the company really operates, what is the
Yeah.
business architecture the company runs on? What is the marketing strategy of Microsoft? How does it make sure
Mm-hmm.
it operates so well in so many countries, and makes sure
Yeah.
it still profits out of that business? And
Yeah. Exactly.
it really helps you a lot because it gives you a whole new business perspective. But I should suggest, I want everyone to keep in mind that don't do an MBA degree fresh out of college. This is a mistake that many people
Yeah.
do, and I always tell them, don't do it, because it is gonna,
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get, let's say, 10 things out of an MBA, When you do it
Yeah.
fresh out of college, I assure you, you get at most five things because you don't know the working life,
Uh-huh.
the
Okay.
business. So it
Yeah.
is important that if you want to get most out of your MBA, you
Mm-hmm.
have some job experience, at least 3 5 years before doing an MBA degree.
Right, makes sense. So now, talking about core values, SG, what are some of the core values that you uplift and uphold in your life?
So I can say I always try to carry joy with me. This is one of the most important things. I don't know if you
Yeah,
have already felt the energy from there, the whole
of
many,
course.
many
Yeah,
miles away.
yeah,
This is one suggestion I
yeah,
give to everyone, by the way. Wherever you go, bring joy with you, because
yeah,
bring the one person who wants to who brings the joy to the room, because everyone wants to work with the people who are joyful, or everyone wants to be friends with people who have joy and who are happy, who are
yeah,
positive. So I think
yeah,
this is the one of the things, the core things that I always
yeah.
try to keep with me, like taking joy everywhere. But on top of that, I can
Absolutely. Yeah,
tell you, I focus on being a trusted, a reliable person, and I put honesty and integrity in the core of all my relationships. My
yeah.
relationship with my kid, with my boss, with my husband, with my parents, with my friends, you name it. Like
Right,
the whole relationship,
right.
it is very important. And I think
Mm.
I also think it is very
Yeah,
important to embrace change. Don't be afraid of change. So I
yeah.
think whenever you get out of your comfort
Mm-hmm.
zone, it means that's a spot that you can have the
Yeah,
opportunity to grow. And if you want to keep things steady, keep it. It's okay to keep things steady. But if you want to grow things, get out of your comfort zone and embrace change. And this is also one thing I try to put into a core of my life and try to remind myself
yeah.
all the time.
Right, excellent. And now we're going to one of my favorite questions. So, for I would say young parents, first of all, how was your transition to motherhood like, and how do you think modern day companies are supporting young parents?
I can say, as I already told you, after I become a mom, I become more productive. That's for sure, because I
Uh huh.
learned how to do work in less time because I wanted to spend time on different things
Yeah.
as well. And I think,
Yeah.
especially for the past years, I think COVID time helped us a lot from that aspect. I think now the
Right.
modern day companies are focusing a lot on work life balance. And
Yeah.
because companies learned from the hard way that when an employee doesn't have this balance, they become less
Yeah.
productive, they become burnout, and it's not gonna helping company eventually.
Yeah.
Plus, it is bad publicity for the company when you make people work for 20 hours, because now the generation Y, generation Z, those people doesn't want to work 20 hours a day just to have
Yeah.
a house at the age of 50. I don't know. You know what I mean? We focus on
Yeah.
experiences. Me as well, I'm
Yeah.
the same. So I want to experience
Yeah.
life. And if a company doesn't let you do it, just quit.
Mm-hmm.
Quit as fast as you can. I mean, this is important because, like, otherwise,
Yeah.
your job and
Yeah.
your work becomes
Yeah.
just a torture, and just remind yourself that you are
Yeah.
very important, and you don't live to work, you work to live, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you need to keep that in mind.
Absolutely. So, other than that, talking to you as a person, other than the job titles, what are some of your hobbies or interests outside of work?
I can tell you, outside of work, I love spending time with my family. I like staying
Hmm.
active, going outside, trying new
Right.
restaurants, exploring new
Yeah.
sites and new cultures. and I like it a lot. But I can tell you, the ultimate joy of my life is to spend
Yeah.
quality time with my daughter. So I love going to
Nice.
playgrounds
Yeah.
with her. I love playing Barbies with her,
Right.
and I love
Amazing.
just
Yeah.
going outside, just running with
Yeah.
her. So that's what motivates me most in life. So
Right. Excellent. And honestly, I have the most sincere prayers for you, and I wish that you get to cherish and create a lot of beautiful memories with your family as well. So now that
thank
we're
you
reaching
so
the end of our conversation, Ezgi, we'll end it on this note that knowing what you know now, would there have been anything that you would have done differently in your career?
Yes. I mean, there are many things that I learned from my career, and I think when you learn something, you realize that you could have learned it a couple of years back, and it would have created the most
Yeah.
impact as well. But I always, I mean, I'm a very direct person and very open, honest person. So there
Hmm.
were sometimes it created challenges for me as well, because being
Yeah.
so much direct in a corporate
Yeah.
culture is not very welcomed all the time, and it is not very easy
Yeah.
for some leaders who are more traditional, to have young generation in front of them just telling everything
Yeah.
directly and pissing him or her off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I had some, let's say, times where I
Hmm.
was being too stubborn and too direct on the topics that I
Hmm.
value. But then
Right.
I realized, I mean, before there is always a better way to say things. Okay, I mean, what I mean is more like this. It is not what you say all the time. Okay, it is how you say it.
How you say
It's
it.
how you
Yeah.
say it, and there is very good English acronyms that remind you those kind of things. But I don't remember all of them right now. But there was one something like. Is it first, before you tell anything to anyone, just ask yourself first, uh,
Yeah.
is it true, is it
Hmm.
necessary, is it kind? So the three things you need to ask. And sometimes I
Yeah.
realize even myself that sometimes I skip some of those or one of those, which creates a mess in your relationship or in your it's not even only for your job, it's the same for your personal
Yeah.
life as well. And on top of that,
Yeah.
I mean, there is one thing that I want to emphasize, that everyone just always be your authentic self. You don't need to change for anyone or for any company. And if even with Microsoft, I always had those type of discussions with my mentors, with my coaches, with other leaders in the organization.
Yeah.
I always ask them sometimes, look, I mean, because you want this, it doesn't this put me in a shape, in a box, and I don't want to be put in a box. I don't want to be just same with anyone. I want to bring my
Hmm.
authentic self to work. And
Right.
always great leaders
Hmm.
remind me that, okay, just look around and see all those amazing leaders, whoever you like. I mean, I don't care. It can be even Kim Kardashian, for instance. Even look out to
Yeah.
her. It doesn't need to be a very
Yeah.
successful business leader. I mean, it can be a
Yeah.
successful, I don't know, actress or actor or anyone. Just,
Right.
uh, just when you look at those people, you realize that
Hmm.
the one thing that all of them have in common is that they are authentic. They are different from some aspects. So you don't need to, let's say, you don't need to become just some traditional robot who needs to
Hmm.
execute things in the way the company, the boss wants. Just remind yourself that
Right.
you can be your authentic self
Yeah.
and create a day-to-day work, a job description that polishes that brings the best out of you, and it will eventually bring you success at the end.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that fresh perspective with us, Ezgi. I really appreciate it. And we sincerely thank you for your time and presence here. Now that we've reached the end of our conversation, I hope you have an excellent rest of your day. And as far as our audience are concerned, thank you so much for watching the episode. And if you like the content, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to show your support. And do pass the content around among your friends and family. Other than that, until the next episode rolls out, do check us out on other streaming platforms. This is your host, Usama, signing off, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.